What's good? I'm Renee River, and I'm here to talk to you about my new EP, Flowers on the Wall. It's almost at 200 streams on Spotify, and that's pretty cool. So, go stream it now. Please, yeah. What's good? I'm Renee River, and I'm here to talk to you about my new EP, Flowers on the Wall. What's good? I'm Renee River, and I'm here to talk to you about my new EP, Flowers on the Wall. It's almost at 200 streams on Spotify, and that's pretty cool. So, go stream it now. Please, yeah. What's good? I'm Renee River, and I'm here to talk to you about my new EP, Flowers on the Wall. It's almost at 200 streams on Spotify, and that's pretty cool. So, go stream it now. Please, yeah. Good. I'm Renee River, and I'm here to talk to you about my new EP, Flowers on the Wall. It's almost at 200 streams on Spotify, and that's pretty cool. So, go stream it now. Please, yeah. What's good? I'm Renee River, and I'm here to talk to you about my new EP, Flowers on the Wall. It's almost at 200 streams on Spotify, and that's pretty cool. So, go stream it now. Please, yeah. What's good? I'm Renee River, and I'm here to talk to you about my new EP, Flowers on the Wall. It's almost at 200 streams on Spotify, and that's pretty cool. So,
President of the United States.
go stream it now. Please, yeah. What's good? I'm Renee River, and I'm here to talk to you about my new EP, Flowers on the Wall.
Oh, yes, we can.
It's almost at 200 streams on Spotify, and that's pretty cool. So, go stream it now. Please, yeah.
President of the United States.
Alright, that's enough of that guy. Yeah.
Oh, yes, we can.
We're starting to scream soon.
You can't
Just kind of waiting for
President of the United States. How you know, like Joe?
God damn,
Okay, so
cut out that audio. It's just
I
cracking.
guess that she was.
All right,
She would have been the.
But yeah, so
Joker part.
we're gonna be doing like tier lists. Maybe react to something. Yeah, so it's gonna be a chill stream, especially given that it's like Monday night. I'm kind of tired. I just had a pretty good idea. Yeah, I guess I'll just wait for some more people to come in,
President of the United States.
and then we'll see what happens from there.
Oh, yes, we can.
Oh shit. Man, I just heard the shitty fucking song, the Ben Shapiro song. I remember tasking Cameron to make that song. He still to this day regrets making it. It's pretty funny. All right, I think we're gonna get started now. Let's hope to God my camera's working. Let's see. Oh, it's working. All right. Is it picking up device audio? Oh no, thank God. Alright, first topic of the stream. Jesus Christ, man. Rick and Morty fans are really going through it right now. God damn. I mean, so evidently this was like apparently like 2 years in the making, something like that. It says 2020 right here. That's rough, man. I mean, I'm not laughing because of the situation. The situation's actually pretty fucked up. Like, it's domestic abuse. It's alleged. So far, but you never know with these kinds of things. So I mean, either way, man, though, that it's just fuck like that. I mean, I guess it didn't come out of the blue, right? But like nobody had been talking about this beforehand. I mean, I didn't see a single thing about this until today. This is like rip, especially if it comes out that, like, you know, he's guilty. Like, god damn, man. Because like they said, like, what was the term that they used? Like, corporal injury. That's what it was called. Damn, like, it's just that's rough. That's real rough. But Rick and Morty fans are really going through it, man. I mean, I'm just surprised that it's Justin Roiland and not Dan Harmon. I mean, I know, why is it not getting out? Because I know Dan Harmon has like a thing with drinking, right? But I mean, let me read, guys. I guess not. It ended up being the fucking voice of Rick and Morty, literally voice of Rick and Morty. Man, because like I don't know too much about the situation to really add that much to it, but like, I mean, Jesus Christ, it's at the very least it's gonna be a huge publicity PR disaster here. I'm trying to readjust my camera. It's like off and great now. It's even more fucked up. God damn. Nah, man. Come on. Shaky fingers. All right. Let's make this a little bit like Aki. Yeah. All right. So let's start. First tier list of the night. Shut my microphone. Let's do tier master. All right. What the fuck? Wait, this is a video? What?
Hey,
Hey guys, the name's Sonic, and I'm back with a video that I haven't done yet. I've done it on other people's channels, like Tails and... Well, yeah, Tails, but...
Oh, I didn't expect that. Oh my god, that's so stupid. It's on the same level as the Sonic universe could be classified as hot chick heaven. God, that was that was funny. Oh, and then the fucking Vanos gaming shit, like, oh man, that's funny. This is like some, I mean, I guess it's not content farm shit, but I mean, this is definitely for people who should not be on the internet. God damn, man. What?
But, this is a tier list of Sonic girls. Now, I couldn't find every single Sonic girl, and let's face it, not every single Sonic girl is in my universe. So I don't know all of them. So I'm just gonna go with a short list here.
Like Rosikshu? Rosikshu's actually not in the Sonic universe. So, I mean, it's a little fucked up, right? Like, I'd imagine that Sega, by this point, would have acknowledged the Chris Chan canon, and of course, incorporated it into their own canon, at least in like the shows, right? I mean, I just think it's a little bit unreasonable that they didn't. So sucks. We're not gonna see Rosikshu on here, but I mean, what are you gonna do, right?
That I have, and whichever ones that I don't know, there's only one here I don't know. And I'm gonna replace that one with my editor, Crimson. The one on the end, Crimson. This one here, the one that...
Yo, Crimson's in this? Bro, dude, alright, this is gonna be hype. Alright, let's see. I think she's gonna be like solid C tier. Like, yeah, nah, there's nowhere else to put her. Like, she's like right in C tier. Yeah.
It looks like a female Tails wearing Rouge's outfit. Replace that picture with your picture. You're on the list.
All right.
Without further ado,
really
let's get started. So, we're not going to start right at the beginning. We're going to pick randomly. We're going to go with Xena. Alright, Xena, first of all, she was a bad guy. So, you know, we didn't get on good terms.
Yeah, no,
I made fun of her a lot. I'm going to put her in D. Mainly because, that guy, she wants to have things happen. Not all about that life. I am a hero, after all. And heroes, I mean, I know you guys are wanting to do,
Okay, I mean, God. This is just wrong. This is just wrong. That, look at her, man. Look, you really think that would be D tier? That's not D tier. That's fucking bullshit, man. That's like, nah, bro. Hell nah. Like, no. She's like solid. Yeah, no. She's like B tier. This is stupid. This is a dumb video. I'm not watching this anymore. What's the point of watching YouTube videos if they don't agree with every single opinion of yours? God fucking damn, man. Actually, alright. So, back on track. Let's see. Alright. This is going to be the first tier list of the night, guys. Oh fuck, man, that was disgusting. Jesus. MCU movies up to Spider. Oh, okay. That was so long to load. What the hell? Spider-Man theatrical movies. Does this have No Way Home? Oh, this is really outdated. This is like when Homecoming You know, Far From Home, like they didn't even have Venom 2 on this thing. All right, where's the other one? There was one that I saw that I clicked off all Spider-Man movies, including No Way Home. This one's got the Venom movies, man. God damn. I don't want to like sit here making 15 different tier lists for. Okay, this one has the Venom movies. Does it have No Way Home? Yes, it does. But there's Far From Home, Homecoming. Where's Spider-Verse? There's a Raimi trilogy. There's a two. Okay, this one seems good. All it needs to do is all right, let's do F tier. Because there's okay. So I want to preface this. There are two movies that okay. No wait. I'm trying to think of a good way to put this. Essentially, I like every single Spider-Man movie except for two. And you're going to know which ones I don't like. There's a reason why I put that. There's an F tier right there. There's two movies that I do not like, and you're not gonna know which movies I mean, maybe if you know who I am, but you're not gonna expect it. Like you're not. I'm gonna tell you right now. You're gonna get like if you're like a solid like Spider-Man fan, like a normal Spider-Man, you're gonna get fucking pissed about my opinions. And that's another thing is that a lot of my opinions on the Spider-Man movies are like extremely biased and opinionated. There's one in particular that is very biased and opinionated, and I don't know, like it's just it's like this is not like an actual review of the quality. If we're gonna review it by like objective quality and craftsmanship that was put into each movie, it would be a completely different list. But that's not what we're here for, because if you wanted to look at just like a generic ass whatever list, you just fucking go watch like a Shay Phillips video or something. I don't know. But all right, first up, Far From Home. I hate this movie. I hate Far From Home, dude. God damn, that's the first one on the hit list. I remember watching it for the first time, and right after the movie ended, I could not remember a single plot point. I had to rewatch it 2 more times in order to like even fully remember half of the plot points that are in this movie. It's just I felt, I mean, I've never been like a big Mysterio guy. I always found him in his like comic stories and even in the animated show, he was kind of really boring. I mean, he never had like cool powers or cool stories or anything. He just kind of like goofed off. He was just like, you know, you'd have like the gas or whatever, and then you'd have like the Spider-Man would make like the same joke about his helmet being like a fishbowl, and he'd be like, "I'll get you, Spider-Man," and then, you know, it was just goofy. Like, and it's like everything was always like, oh, well, it's a hallucination. It was like watching a goddamn Scooby-Doo episode. Every single time you'd come across like a Mysterio episode, or I don't know, just like Mysterio content in general. I've never been a big Mysterio guy, so that was already kind of like, you know, and then like while watching it, it does try and go that route, right? Where it's like, oh, well, no, Mysterio's a good guy. Nobody fucking believed you. Nobody in their right mind watched that movie being like, oh, I don't know, maybe Mysterio was the good guy. Maybe he's not the bad guy. Maybe he's telling the truth. It's like, no, nobody, like, other than anybody older than 5 years old went into that movie fully expecting him to be the villain. And then, oh, well, what do you know? He's the villain. It's like, who cares? And it's like, had it not been for No Way Home, this movie, it would have ruined it for me. Like the MCU Spider-Man, this is kind of when I mean, I already wasn't a big fan of Homecoming, and I mean, I see it's next, and so I'm gonna talk about that more specifically. But when I watched Far From Home, there was just this feeling of emptiness, and it was one of the first times that I had walked out of an MCU like movie feeling like that. And it's just like it's like even thinking about it, it's just like I don't like this movie at all. Yeah, no, it's because it's D tier. It's D tier for me. Next up, we got Homecoming. Homecoming is actually one of I know I just said this about Far From Home, but Homecoming is actually one of the first movies that I ever watched, like, and coming out of it just disappointed. Like, I mean, because when you're a kid, I mean, this was like, what, 2016? So it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, was that like what? Like, fuck, I can't add. That was like 7 years ago? No way. No way it was 7 years ago. What? That doesn't give me an answer. God. No, it was that. Yeah, it is 7 years ago. And Homecoming was what? Like. When was Homecoming invented? What? No, wait, that's Homecoming. It was. Why would they? What would I care about? Like the Netflix movie? Okay, 2017. So 6 years ago. So I was like 11 years old. That it was just like. I remember like when you're 11, like any movie, no matter how shitty, is like awesome. Like any movie, like don't come out of here with like the shit that I've seen in like YouTube videos now, where like people will be like, even as a kid, I thought that was kind of dumb. No, you fucking didn't. No, you didn't. You were fucking like 12. You had no like sense of critical thinking at all. But like that was one of the first movies that I walked out of, and it's just like being absolutely bored. I mean, and I know it's a red flag to be like, bro, what was the point of that movie? I mean, I was 11, right? So, like, I went in, I was hyped. I had seen Civil War. Civil War was, like, crazy. I mean, Spider-Man is, like, one of my favorite heroes. And then seeing him finally in the MCU was just, like, I mean, that was pretty cool. And then so, you know, Homecoming releases. I go and watch it in the theater. It come out, and I'm just like, I didn't like it that much. Like, most of my criticisms always come down to the villains, but, like, fucking... God damn, like Vulture was cool. Like he kind of had like a cool relationship with Spider-Man, but it was just like, I mean, God, it's so juvenile, but the fights weren't cool enough. and again, that was another thing. Vulture, I never liked him as a villain either. Not as much as I hated Mysterio, but I always found Vulture was kind of like a one-dimensional kind of guy, and like he never really. I mean, like, as a kid, like, the coolest part of any Spider-Man movie or cartoon or anything was the fight scenes. And apart from, like, a couple of times where he would, like, punch Spider-Man, like, all he really did was just, like, fly around like a fucking little goofball. And then he had, like, Spider-Man. It would always end up like this. It would be Spider-Man would swing from one of his wings. Like, he would, like web shoot. And then he would be like hanging off of Vulture, and then Vulture would be like, "Get off me!" And then he'd like do like a little curve around like a building, and then Spider-Man would like smack into it, and then that was like the entire fight. So and that's literally what happens in this movie. I mean, and I'm starting to see more criticism of it now, but like low-key, it's not even really a Spider-Man movie. Like, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man is pretty cool, but like I don't want him like constantly in my Spider-Man movie, like just kind of derailing the plot whenever he shows up. I mean, the guy like kind of did nothing. Like all he did was like go like, "Hey, here's a suit and you gotta be more responsible," and then he just like goes away, right? But like it just did so much to reduce Spider-Man as an independent character, and like just kind of made him feel like a little bitch. And people at the time were talking about how it was like it really like brought you down to like the lower level of the MCU. Like the stakes were reduced and it just made you feel like you were watching your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's like bull fucking shit, man. Like like I can kind of see where they're coming from, but I completely Like I didn't feel that. I mean, all I felt was this just like kind of boring, and like they didn't really know what to do with the Spider-Man movie, especially given that it was like the 7th movie, right? Or was it? No, it was the 6th movie. It was the 6th goddamn Spider-Man movie in like the past like 10 years up until that point, right? So they were like, I mean, what else were they gonna do, right? Like, were they gonna like? They couldn't do Spider-Verse, right? They couldn't do like anything crazy like a train fight like in Spider-Man 2 again. I mean, so they were just kind of like, I don't know, man, like just make him a high schooler or whatever. And yeah, I mean, it's a big part of Spider-Man's character to be like a 16-year-old kid or a high schooler in general. But I mean, the way that Tom Holland played him was just kind of so naive and like a little 12-year-old, which is what people did say. So I'm kind of parroting opinions here, but I mean, he played it like a guy who just barely became Spider-Man when he's supposed to be Spider-Man for like 5 years already. So I don't know. I just think it's kind of unrealistic. So, I don't know. Like it didn't hit the same, right? So with all that being said, I'm gonna go like C tier. Yeah, I didn't hate it either. It had like kind of funny jokes, and it was like the art style was pretty well defined. Or I guess not art style, but like you know what I mean, like the cinematography. It was okay. It was like it's literally like a baseline Spider-Man movie. All right, we got No Way Home, so I guess we're gonna knock out all the home movies. So I'm gonna go A tier. I mean, what can I say about No Way Home that hasn't already been said? I don't want to come off as like a shithead who doesn't like movies or anything, but so I mean, the only reason why it's like not an S tier is just because it takes like a lot, like a lot to hit that S tier mark. Excuse me. And I don't know, like. And most of this is going to devolve into that, but just kind of based off of like what the movie did do was rock solid, right? I guess the only major plot complaint I had was Doctor Strange was just kind of there. Like, I mean, yeah, he kind of technically plays an integral role in the plot, but like he's not really doing anything other than that. All he kind of does is just like fuck up the spell and then like open the doors, and he's just like let's kill the Spider-Man, man. Let's kill the villains. Like it just seemed kind of out of the blue for like Doctor Strange to show up and then do like his little multiverse thing, and then he spends like the entire movie just trapped. Like canonically, that's all Doctor Strange does is like or canonically he spends like literally multiple hours. What was it like an entire day almost, just like being like just strung up in the middle of the mirror dimension or whatever. I just feel like there was really no point for him to be in the movie. It's the same thing happened with Far From Home and Nick Fury and like I said before, Iron Man. Like these movies did not have the balls to like just make Spider-Man his own character, But I mean I liked the inclusion of most of the villains. I like what they did with Electro, and Willem Dafoe was like really good. But I mean, we all knew that the old villains are coming back. Like going in, I actually predicted that it was gonna be a multiverse movie, like right after Far From Home came out. I mean, and not to brag or anything, but I was kind of right. But I kind of already knew going in that the Spider-Man were going to be in there, and they were, and I'm glad that they didn't kind of just show up like 5 minutes near the end and they were just like, you can do it, Spider-Man, and then it just disappeared. I'm glad that they have their own dialogue and actually their own arcs. Like with Andrew Garfield, they did give him like a pretty good closure, I guess, especially after the shit show that was TASM 2, right? But I mean, there was nothing to be said. It's rock solid. Willem Dafoe was a really, really good villain. I guess the only complaint I would have is that outside of the old villains, it doesn't really do that much for Spider-Man up until like the end. Like they try and make you feel bad whenever they kill off Aunt May, but it's like I don't care. Like I don't. If it was like the original Aunt May from the Raimi movies, I mean that would be pretty hardcore. But like this Aunt May, like I don't care about her. Like I the other two movies, I like did not. I barely enjoyed Homecoming, and I hated Far From Home. Like I don't care about any of the characters in these movies. Ned, I could give or take. I don't really care for Zendaya. Her MJ, I just like all those side characters that they obviously they have to put them in because it's the end to the trilogy, right? But I just didn't like that very much. I feel like most of the stuff that I don't like about this movie is just a culmination of how bad the other two, or how mediocre rather I should say, how mediocre the other two were. So I mean, that's the only reason. Well, it's not the only reason, but it's part of the reason why I'm keeping it out of S. It's because I wouldn't feel comfortable putting it in the same vein as like the other movie that I'm gonna put on S. So, with that being said, we got Spider-Man 1. This hard. I mean, it's A tier. It's not S tier. It's not S tier. Just like I said before, that's reserved for a very specific movie. So Spider-Man 1. God, I love Spider-Man 1. I mean, it's such an important movie to like the wider MCU. I mean, X-Men had came out the year before. It was relatively well received, especially compared to like superhero movies before then. I think the most recent superhero movie prior to X-Men was Batman and Robin. So I mean that's kind of like X-Men came in and then they were like, okay, I could kind of see. But then when Spider-Man came out, I mean, holy shit, like that was a game changer. Like for the longest time, I think it was one of the first movies to reach 10 million in the box office in a weekend. It broke some sort of record. And it just had this sort of significance to it. And it did all of that without feeling corporate, I guess, is like hollow. It didn't feel hollow. Like when you watch Homecoming and Far From Home, it kind of feels like they're trying to recapture the vibe of the original 2001 Spider-Man. But they can't get past that like shitty corporate hollow veneer where it's just like it feels way too artificial and there's not enough heart. Like it seems like an MCU movie, especially the newer ones, it seems like when you watch them, you can kind of like visualize the writers, like that GIF of Walter White where he's like dropping the shit into like the tubes and making meth, right? Like it just seems like that's what they were doing, you know, just to like be like, oh, we're gonna create like a hyper artificial moment, and they didn't really let any of like the moments like naturally occur. You know, whereas like in the original Spider-Man movies, they kind of did. I mean, there was almost this like old Hollywood style to them, and a lot of it's attributed to like Bill Pope's choreography and the cinematography. I forgot who was in charge of the cinematography, and Sam Raimi's direction, obviously, and then the way that Tobey Maguire played the character. Like it was such a like, I guess like cozy feeling that you would have. And then obviously, I mean, Willem Dafoe is like at his best in this movie. I mean, he's there for it. Like as Goblin, he just like, he flies around, he like goofs off, and he's just like the right amount of Sam Raimi campiness, but he's also kind of fucking scary. It's just like, it's a great movie. It's a great film. I can't say anything like bad about it. I mean, the only issue I'd say is that it's very obviously dated. I mean, like some of the stuff in there, like obviously the CGI, which is what I remember Cosmonaut harping on when he did his whole Raimi review of the whole trilogy. He was harping on like the CGI looked bad, and even back then it was shitty, which I agree with. I mean, I've seen those reviews too. The CGI, I think a lot of it's attributable to like the fact that their budget was probably a lot smaller than what it should have been. I guess not what it should have been, but like for a Spider-Man movie, compared to like what a Spider-Man movie now would have a budget for, that one didn't. You know, like if you compare Spider-Man 3's $500 million budget to like this movie, which I think was like 30 million, it's like obviously the CGI was gonna look kind of bad. But I don't really think it like takes away from the film, especially because you know, Sam Raimi loves using practical effects, so doesn't affect too much. But I mean, it is kind of a detractor. Like the infamous scene where he's swinging from the skyscrapers with MJ, and then like he's very obviously a mannequin, and then like her hair is blowing in the wrong way. So, I mean, yeah, but yeah, other than that, it's solid A tier. Next up is Spider-Man 2. Now, this is B tier. This is a B tier movie. I'm sorry. I don't want to be a contrarian. I really don't want. I don't want to come off as one. Because I like this movie. I like it a lot. I think it is really good. And obviously, if we were to be judging it based off of like, what would you call it? Competency. It would be S tier. It'd be like the first one in S tier. But from like my experience personally with this movie, as a kid, I found it really boring, and then even now, I don't really like I don't. It's not that I don't care about it. It's more so like if I were to choose which Raimi movie to watch, it wouldn't be this one. So like the way that this movie kind of feels is like it's a lot more depressing, but in the sense that it's like, I mean, it takes that aspect of the first movie where like Peter Parker is shit on by life, and it just runs with it. Like the entire movie, everybody is a fucking huge dick to Spider-Man, or to Peter Parker more specifically. And it's just, I like the idea, but rewatching that over and over and over again is like kind of tiring. I don't know how Spider-Man 2 fans do it, but like every time I watch the movie, I just feel like secondhand embarrassment and a little bit irritated just because of how these like characters are just so like unlikable. Even Aunt May's kind of an asshole. Like, you know, it just, I know what they're going for, but I just personally don't like it. And Doc Ock, he's a cool villain, but I just don't think he really captured the scenery or chewed the scenery the way that Willem Dafoe did. Willem Dafoe is like the greatest Spider-Man villain. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is like the greatest Spider-Man movie villain ever. But so obviously Alfred Molina's Doc Ock couldn't really compete with that. And for what it's worth, he did a really good job. Like, yeah, like he's Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. He's like other people. He's not mine, but he's other people's favorite Spider-Man villain. Like, I mean, he's like theatrical, but also a little bit intellectual, and he gives off a little bit of that fatherly vibe that Willem Dafoe tried giving off, you know, when he was playing like Norman Osborn. But Norman Osborn always had like a creepiness to him, a little edge, which is, you know, par for the course for the Goblin. Whereas like Alfred Molina is more of a tragic, he portrays more of a tragic character. So, you know, he starts off very, very virtuous, almost channeling Ben, right? Ben Parker. But, you know, then it just, you know, the accident happens and the arms take over. And so obviously there's a lot more tragedy to the second movie, which I think a lot of people gravitate towards, similar to like how The Empire Strikes Back captures Star Wars fans. It just seems like a more mature story overall, and obviously the CGI is like way better than the other one. Like the action fights, I mean, the train scene and like the just everything about like the action in this movie is just so perfectly like just it's like just it's perfectly made, it's perfectly timed, it's just it's really good, it's really well made. But yeah, you know, with that being said, you know, B tier. I didn't put in A tier because, you know, like I said before, characters were too unlikable, and I know that's the point, but I just feel like it ruins the rewatchability of this movie for me. So, and it's not a fault on the writer's part. It's like it's completely my fault, but this is this is my list, so I can rank whatever I want. But so yeah, so characters are too unlikable. Not enough Spider-Man. I know. I know the point is that, you know, he loses his powers and then slowly gets them back, but I just feel like there's not enough like Spider-Man as a presence to really like, I don't know, keep me engaged. The Peter Parker stuff is cool, but like I said before, all the characters are so goddamn unlikable that it's really hard to get invested in the character drama when I like literally everybody is in the wrong. So, you know, like the characters are too unlikable and there's not enough Spider-Man to break up the monotony of Peter Parker constantly getting shit on. And I just don't think Doc Ock was as strong as a presence, as strong of a presence as Willem Dafoe. So, you know, I'd rather rewatch the first movie than the second, you know. All right. Now this one is 2008 Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. Now, I was 1 year old. I had literally barely been born when Spider-Man 2 came out. But when Spider-Man 3 came out, I was like 4. So, like, I was there for it. Like, I remember watching this movie for the first time. I don't think I watched it in theaters. I don't think I was old enough yet. But, like, I was there. I remember watching this movie. And with that being said, S tier. Goddamn S tier. But this movie is so good, man. I love Spider-Man 3. God, just thinking about it, man, it makes me happy. I like just like every single line in that movie I can quote. I can like the score, the like sequence of themes and like music. There was a period in time where I could literally hum the entire soundtrack to the movie in sequential order. Like I could hum the movie basically. I watched this movie religiously for years. I still do. I watched it when I was 3 or 4 years old. Never looked back. This is my shit. I mean, I was a pretty big fan of Venom before that because I would watch reruns of the 1996 Spider-Man cartoon, and Venom was like my favorite arc. Or like that was perfect. I loved Venom, and part of the reason it was so goddamn stupid, but I mean I was like 3, was because I associated the color of Venom with jelly, like the jelly that you put on like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I mean I love jelly. I like, I mean what kid doesn't? Because it's like it's sugar. It's literally just sugar, but like. As a kid, I would like I had a whole tradition. Basically, I would watch the 1990 Spider-Man 3-part Black Suit Spider-Man and then Venom arc. I would watch that, and that was on Netflix. And so I would sit down. It would be like 9 in the morning. I'd have my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then so I'd eat that while watching the Spider-Man cartoons, and then I would transition right into Spider-Man 3, watch that up until I think by this point it would have been noon, and then I would go and play with my little Spider-Man toys and recreate the entire Spider-Man 3 like ending fight scene. Like this movie was like in my childhood. Like I wasn't there for Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 2. Not until later when I actually like watched the DVDs, but like I was like Spider-Man 3 was like full on, like that was my time, and it got me super into Venom, super into Spider-Man. This movie literally informed how I watch movies just because of like the way that the third act is just so perfect that every single movie I think the only movie that I can compare to this movie is Scott Pilgrim, and it's such a stupid shitty comparison, but that's the only movie that makes me feel the same way. It's just like Venom like came out and it was the black suited Spider-Man arc, and it was just I love the way that like the Venom symbiote moved and like this weird like kind of, it wasn't like goopy sludge like it usually is in the comics. It was like this spider like web, like just kind of like moving like a little like crawling almost, and it just looked so gnarly, and it was like this feeling of just like, oh, like it was just like a, you know, like watching Peter Parker like slowly turn to the dark side from the Spider-Man. I'm like getting so excited I'm mixing up my words. From the symbiote excuse me, from the symbiote. It was just so like, it did something for me as a kid, man. And you know, I remember I distinctly remember when I found out that this movie was not well liked. I think I was in, I want to say 8th grade at the time, and I stumbled upon a YouTube video where it was a review of Spider-Man 3, and I just saw this guy fucking rip into this movie. I think it was, I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Chris Stuckman, but I could be wrong. He just like, he fucking ripped into this movie, and he was just like pointing out all this like cringe shit, and it's like I would see the memes, you know, of like the oh, just Spider-Man did the emo walk thing, and he has like the hairstyle and whatever, and so, you know, and I remember just it depressed me, man, as like a middle schooler, because this movie was like, this movie still is my this movie is my favorite movie of all time, and like just the way that people were talking about it at the time, well, it was depressing. It was sad. Luckily now I think people have started to come around to it. I think partially the reason why is because people my age, or maybe a little bit older, who grew up with the movie are now old enough to have their own opinions and to be vocal about those opinions. I know I certainly am. So obviously this movie has kind of gotten a lot of belated love lately, but I think there's still a sizable group of people who kind of make a living well, not make a living, but figuratively so. They love to pick on this movie, like just like little shit, you know, like oh, why is there a dance sequence in this movie? Why did he do that to Jazz Club? And then why is Peter Parker an asshole? Why is he cringe? Why isn't he like a badass like in the comics? And it's like, I can understand where they're coming from, but also you kind of have to approach the movie on its own terms. Characters, the reason why Peter Parker acted the way he did in Spider-Man 3 was because like he's a fucking nerd. Like, I mean, if you've watched Spider-Man 1 and 2, like, this guy's a weirdo. He's like he like talks in like poetic ways, like in Spider-Man 2 when he's like, punch me, I bleed. And he's like just, I mean, the entirety of Spider-Man 1 where he's just like a goofy little goober, like all his cheesy one-liners and stuff. Like, what would you think this guy's idea of being cool was? Like, he's not gonna be like some Chad who walks in just like super buff and just badass suave guy. It's like, nah, he's gonna be a little geeber, a little geezer, man. Like, and that's exactly what he is. He's like a little troll. And you know, it is kind of hard. It's hard to see him act like that, but the movie kind of understands. It's the same way as Spider-Man 2. You know, Spider-Man 2 knows what it's doing. It knows that it's going to tell a story about Peter Parker learning to accept himself and Spider-Man, and it's going to like kind of show how he's Spider-Man regardless of all the stuff that, you know, he goes through on a daily basis. That's what Spider-Man 3 does. It's that it's aware that like we're not gonna like him. The movie wants us to not like the black suited Spider-Man. They wants us to have him take it off, and it works. Like, when I watch that movie, like I you know, even all these years later, I still get invested. Like, being like, come on, Spider-Man, you gotta take that shit off, man. You gotta be a cool guy now. And he does. The ending scene where he pulls out the red suit after like all like just an entire hour of just him being like this near irredeemable asshole, and then like the music starts swelling, and it's just like, and he's looking at it with like this dutiful sense of just like it's somber, but also, you know, he knows that he has to go out there and fight. And then it transitions into the scene with Harry Osborn, and Harry's arc in this movie is fucking amazing. I'll talk about that later, but you know, and then they have that little back and forth that's like just so gut wrenching, because you know that both sides are in the right. I mean, you know that Harry Osborn like is definitely in the right for being like, you know, hey, like, fuck you, Spider-Man. Like, he went to his house, basically tried to kill him, killed his father, taunted him, blew up half of his face, and like destroyed his property. It's just it stole his girlfriend too. Like, all this shit happened that, like, obviously fucking Harry is gonna like not want to help you out, dude. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but like, there's, you know, Peter Parker is like absolutely no match for Sandman and Venom. We even see it at the near the end where he's gonna get killed by Sandman and Venom, right? Like, it's like you know, he does need his help, like, especially because, I mean, it's not about them. It's not about them two. It's about MJ. It's about saving her, right? But it's just such a it's just such a good conflict, right? And then it culminates at the end when you see the bomb get thrown into Sandman's ear, and he turns around and you see it and you hear it beeping, and then it blows up, and then it's the fucking Goblin theme from the first movie, and it's like I remember watching that as a kid, and just oh man, like, I was just like like, God, like, that was actually a Wojak moment, like. God, I got excited. I need to watch that movie, man. And that's what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I'm gonna watch it. But yeah, it's just like this, like it comes in, and then the way that the score plays off itself at the end, right? Like, because it'll be like Spider-Man swinging up right after he avoids Sandman for the first time. He swings up and he's like, hold on, Mary Jane, and then like you hear like the Spider-Man theme playing, and so like he's up there, and then fucking Venom swings in and kicks him in the side, and he smacks into the beam, the steel beam, and falls, and then it's the fucking Venom theme, and it's like, God damn, like, that's so hard. And then he like goes down to the floor, right, and he's like slowly like picking himself up, and then you see fucking Sandman goes. And then he's like it starts playing the Sandman theme, and it's just like, oh, like, yeah, it's so crazy. Like, I mean, because this is in a time before the Avengers movies. Like, this is before Endgame. This was like the most hype thing I as a 3-year-old had experienced up until that point in my life. It still is. Like, watching that movie is just so good, man. It just makes you just, it feels so good at the end. And then even throughout the movie, it's got a lot of emotional nuance that I think was kind of lacking, especially in Spider-Man 1. A lot of like, it kind of shows you another side to these characters. I remember watching this with my friends a few years ago, and my friend said that his main gripe with the movie was that characters were not acting like themselves. I disagree to an extent. I agree that a lot of the characters were acting in a way that was not, I guess, cohesive with the way that the other two movies characterize them. But I think it's like kind of reasonable, taking into account like how the movie wants to, basically taking into account the story that the movie wants to tell. It becomes kind of obvious what they wanted to do. So I give it a pass for that, and it's because it's not like the characters aren't really acting in a way that's like not themselves, like, at all, you know, like they're acting in a way that's pretty realistic to who they are as characters. But I think it's just like so overtly antagonistic, even more so than Spider-Man 2, where it's just kind of like gross, especially to like someone who grew up with the other two movies as a kid. Watching this movie, I can see how that change in perspective would you know, kind of affect stuff. But I didn't grow up with those movies. I grew up with this movie. I watched 1 and 2. I want to say a couple of years later when I was like 6 years old, or just like further on. So like my first experience with Spider-Man wasn't Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 2. It was Spider-Man 3. That was like, God, that movie was just game changing for me, at least. And just the way that everything culminates in the end, and Harry's arc, it's just so well done because it's built up throughout the first three movies, or the last two movies, and then it ends in this movie with him sacrificing himself, and it's like in a poetic way, like he's killed by his own glider, but instead of like when his father died to his own glider, because he was trying to trick Spider-Man, this one's because he's trying to save, his friend, his best friend, and he dies, and like it's a sunset, and then they have that. Right before then is the reconciliation with Sandman, and it's like it leads to closure from Ben's death that was set up in the second movie because they're trying to deal with the reality that like Peter Parker, was low-key responsible for the death of his uncle. It's never really resolved in the second movie, so I can see why they wanted to like give that arc closure through Sandman. And it just, God, man, it's just, all the Sandman shit is so good. I mean, that's kind of like the regular, like, bland opinion is that, like, oh, well, the Sandman scene, the Birth of Sandman scene is, like, the best scene in the entire trilogy, right? I feel like it's kind of a generic, like, it's an easy answer, like, but I do agree that it is really, really well made. And so, I mean, just most of the Sandman shit, some of the Venom stuff is like a little rushed, right? Which is like the main complaint people have. Is like, there's too many villains. But I'm going to get into that criticism with the next movie on this list. I don't have a problem at all with the multiple villains. I think it was done really well. I think, and also for like my psychotic little kid brain, it kind of helped that there was a lot of villains, because like my attention would be like bouncing back and forth between everything. So like it would, the movie is literally, it's kind of cut in a way where it's like a compilation of different scenes. I think I remember hearing someone say that like the scenes themselves for the movie for Spider-Man 3 are really good, but like in a cohesive narrative, it doesn't really mesh that well. I disagree with that, but I do think that there was a conscious effort in the editing room to edit it in such a way where it bounces back and forth between plot lines. So, and then me like watching, I know what's happening in that movie. I mean, I can fucking quote most of the scenes in that movie. There's nothing in that movie that's going to confuse me. Like, I'm basically an expert on Spider-Man 3. So like, I don't really feel that like jolt in pacing. I more so feel like this kind of hold on. Wait, okay, never mind. It's because my screen was buffering. I thought I was gonna disconnect, but I kind of feel like Spider-Man 3 was just like cut in a way where it bounces between the villains, so it gives them enough time to be developed. But like Venom himself, like as a character, Venom is like kind of non-existent, but they did spend a lot of time developing Topher Grace's Eddie Brock, and I really like the way that he's played, the way that he's just basically a skeevy foil to Peter Parker is really smart. It's a really smart way of to take it, and I think, and then on top of that, right, like the symbiote does have a presence in the movie, so I think it's like it's cohesive enough to like kind of develop him. I mean, it's not the strongest characterization. I wouldn't say it's on the same level as Doc Ock, but I also wouldn't say that Spider-Man 3 is really about the villains. And I know it's a little bit hypocritical because I said that a big part of Spider-Man movies are the villains, and I think the way that the villains themselves are portrayed in Spider-Man 3 is really, really good. Like, all three of them are really well portrayed and really well played, really well acted. It was just well executed. All of their dynamics with Spider-Man himself, it's like their personal connections and their thematic connections, it just all fits in. So it just meshes together really, really well to create that central theme of guilt, that Spider-Man 3 is really all about. It's just so good. It's just such a great movie. I could keep talking about this movie for like an hour, but I gotta get onto other shit, man. So, all right, next one. This is gonna be the one I'm gonna talk about the most, isn't it? God, people are gonna get so fucking mad. Goddamn. Oh, dude, even looking at it like that, looking at it there is like, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, if I had a conversation with someone who defended this movie enough, I would be willing to swap it with Far From Home. Thing is that I don't like Far From Home. Like, I'm more so indifferent to it. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I actively hate. Like, I actively do not like this movie. And a lot of it is attributable to the way that, you know, the fans reacted to this movie. And a lot of it is also just like, I feel like this movie was like really could have been a good movie, and it actively chooses not to be a good one. And people are gonna get so fucking pissed because that's like I forgot what it was called, a fallacy. It's a conclusion fallacy. There's a fucking name for it, but basically it's like, it's just biased. This is like this is gonna be extremely goddamn biased, but I do not like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse at all. I mean, the music and the animation style is really good. And again, if we were going to be grading it on competency, yes, it would be higher. It wouldn't be that much higher, but it would be higher. Just because the animation style and the music just carry this movie so well. But the way that it's written just brings this movie down so much. It's trying to be 3 different movies at once, and it's not doing good at any of them. And yes, I know I just praised Spider-Man 3. I know. I'm fully aware that this is going to come off as extremely hypocritical. That it's like, oh, why did you put Spider-Man 3 in S tier, but then you put Into the Spider-Verse in F tier for like the same reasons. The reason why is part 1, because of nostalgia, and also because I just feel like Spider-Man 3 did it in a more thoughtful way than Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse did. And it just seems like Into the Spider-Verse is like overtly, like, it just feels a little bit like like it kind of knows that it's gonna be a good Spider-Man movie, so it's like a little cocky, and I don't like that. I don't like that vibe, and it just feels a little too overindulgent for me. But let me get into this. So first of all, it's trying to tell the story of Miles Morales inside a Spider-Verse story, and I know that it's, you know, there's like different ways that Spider-Verse is portrayed in the comics. I just don't think this is a really good way of doing it. I think actually it low-key kind of ruins the prospect for the sequel. Like, Miles Morales' story is a very important story, especially because like this movie, it really did a lot to fix his characterization. I agree with that. I mean, he is a little fucking shithead in the comics, and even in like TV shows when they try to adapt him, he was just kind of generic. This is the first movie where he does feel like, our first piece of content really, where he does feel like an actual character. But I just feel like that arc of him slowly becoming Spider-Man and dealing with the fact that his uncle is the goddamn Prowler is like also mixed in with like Peter B. Parker and like Peter Porker and like the anime Spider-Man and like Gwen Stacy, like, and Nicolas Cage just kind of showing up and goofing off, getting into wacky hijinks. And it's like, this movie tries to tell a very mature story about, like, first of all, like, racial violence, right? It tries to depict life in poverty and life for minority communities in a way that's like pretty unique, especially for the time. But then you also mix it in with like that goddamn scene where they're at Kingpin's party or dinner party or whatever, and they're all in like different Spider-Man outfits, and then they just put on like a fucking bow tie, and then everybody just thinks that they're waiters. Like, that is literally cartoon logic. And it's all, you can't tell a story about a kid whose uncle gets fucking shot by a mafia boss and then has to deal with the fact that his uncle is a goddamn criminal and that Spider-Man is dead. And you can't tell that story in the same story where you have like fucking a Spider Pig goofing off and just being like, "Oh, I'm Spider Pig and I'm voiced by John Mulaney." It's like, I don't know, it's just weird. Like, it's weird that they opted to go for that route. So that it's like you get that like tonal dissonance where it's just like you kind of do two movies at once, and then on top of that, you're also doing like that whole Spider-Verse arc, which in and of itself is inherently chaotic, and it's just they try to use it to service Miles' story, but it's really all it really boils down to is them training Miles and then being like, well, you're not trained enough to do anything, and then he goes through that little sad boy arc, and then he does like then he like does the hero thing anyway. It's like it just seems like it was kind of tacked on low key, and it just I don't know. I just feel like the writing wasn't that masterful. It wasn't. I guess masterful is the wrong word, but it wasn't done in a way where it wasn't done carefully. I feel like Spider-Man 3 put like a lot more thought into the way that it did. It portrayed characters and plot points. So like, and then now we get into the elephant in the room. The fucking villains in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse are just so goddamn shitty. Unless you're the fucking Kingpin or Prowler, you play like no role in the story. The Dr. Liv Octopus, I don't know what her name is, Lev or some shit like that. Actually, let me look that up. What's her name? Liv. Olivia Octopus. Yeah. So she's like okay. I mean, I think the voice actress, did a lot. You know, she tried carrying. She really did carry the character, but it just like her dialogue wasn't really that good, and she didn't really have a lot to do in the story outside of like kind of making things awkward for Spider-Man. Like she wasn't really that important. Like you could cut her out of the story and nothing would happen. And then the same can be said for like the Scorpion and Tombstone. Like, did you guys even remember Tombstone was in this movie? Because I didn't. I had to like look up the cast beforehand. And it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. The Goblin's in this movie, and he looks so fucking goddamn shitty. He's in 2 scenes. Why would you have the Green Goblin in 2 scenes? Like, you could have saved him for another Spider-Verse movie, and you didn't. Instead, you just like made him like a butt monkey to fucking Kingpin, which isn't even like a plot point that makes sense. Like, fucking Goblin in the comics would have killed Kingpin. Like, he would have like snapped his neck and then just like taken over. He wouldn't even taken over Kingpin's crime family. He would have just like fucking killed everybody. Like, I don't know. It just seems unrealistic that he's just like some butt monkey. And then Scorpion, who's basically just like a racist Mexican caricature. And like, I'm Mexican, and like I felt like low key, like, you know, like just kind of, I didn't feel offended or anything. I just kind of, it made me feel gross. Like, it was just like some guy with like tattoos, and he's just all like, "Orale, Holmes," and he like, like, I don't know, like he just was mediocre. He had like 3 lines, and then Tombstone was, again, like fucking, what did Tombstone even do in that movie? Like, none of these villains had like a personal connection to Miles or even Spider-Man for that matter, to where it just like didn't even really feel significant that they were fighting him. Kingpin kind of had like a pretty interesting motive. I mean, like the whole thing where it's like, oh, my family died, and I'm gonna bring back my family, and stuff. I mean, that's kind of an interesting way to take it, but like also at the same time, like, I don't know, like what does that have to do with Spider-Man? Like, the only reason why Spider-Man really gets involved is because, like, the only reason why Miles gets involved is because, like, Kingpin is like, I'm gonna blow up the fucking world, and it's just like, I don't know, it just seems generic. Yeah, no, I don't like Spider-Verse at all. I hate watching people pop off over this movie, and like, the reasons why they pop off are like kind of low key hypocritical, like because everything they like about this movie is like shit that was in Spider-Man 3. Hell, some of the shit that they excuse in this movie was in Spider-Man 3. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of gross, especially when you have like the internet conversations, which I mean, it's my mistake for fighting with people online over this shit, but I mean, even having conversations with people online, like it just it's almost fundamentally unnuanced. I don't know. I don't really I don't know. I don't like this movie. I think it kind of introduced that new wave of Spider-Man fans that are just kind of like cartoon adults and like you know, people who would say that the Avatar: The Last Airbender was their favorite cartoon, like those kinds of people. I don't really like those guys. So I mean that's all I'm gonna say about that. But all right, so now we got the Amazing Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man. This is like it's kind of hard to do. Like in between. It's got some good shit, but it's also like it doesn't have the lows of something like Far From Home. But it doesn't really have the highs of something like Spider-Man 2 or anything. Like in my personal opinion, I guess kind of looking at it, like I mean, maybe I like it more than Homecoming, but I mean, I don't really care about this movie, I'm gonna be honest. Like I mean, it was okay. There were a couple of films, or not I guess not a couple of films, a couple of scenes rather, that were like all right. Like, you know, the crane scene and like all the relationship scenes between Andrew Garfield and what was her name? Emma Stone. They were kind of interesting. I mean, it was acted really well. They did have really nice on-screen chemistry, but I mean, it's just like I could take it or leave it. And what kind of brings it down a little bit further is knowing that they made this movie instead of Spider-Man 4. That will forever piss me the fuck off. I mean, you knew that there was going to be the lizard in that movie. You knew that they were going to do that shit. I mean, they had been hinting at Dr. Connors since Spider-Man 2. Like, I would have loved to see the lizard in that movie. At the very least, the Vulture, right? I mean, they said that Mysterio, played by God, what's his name? Bruce Campbell. Mysterio, played by Bruce Campbell, was gonna be in it. Vulture was gonna be in it. Like maybe there was gonna be a lizard like end credit scene or some shit. I don't know, man. Like it just seemed like it would have been really hype, but you know, instead we got this movie, and even knowing how it ends, like it just kind of makes it worse. Cause you know, next we got Spider-Man 2, or the Amazing Spider-Man 2. This movie is D tier. I mean, come on. Like I like it, but in a way where it's like this movie's so goddamn bad it's funny. Like like objectively it's like probably it's the worst one. It's the worst Spider-Man movie objectively. But I put it over Far From Home because I would watch this movie any day of the week over that goddamn movie. But it's like it's whatever. It's fine. You know? It's like it's well, it's not fine. It's like my opinion, it's like whatever. Like I don't care. At the very least, it's like kind of funny. It's like the shit like Electro, where he's like, "Oh, it's my birthday, time for me to light my candle," and he like fucking shoots lightning. Like, it's so cringe, and it's just like, and then the goddamn Rhino. It's like, I don't know. It's just man. It's just that movie's a riot, but Jesus Christ, is it bad? All right, now we got the Venom movies. This is gonna be a lightning round. So, first Venom movie. That's a C tier. That's above Amazing Spider-Man. I like the way Tom Hardy. I mean, Tom Hardy's one of my favorite actors. I like the way he plays Venom. I like their relationship. This is gonna be another controversial opinion. I fucking love the Venom fight scenes. I love the way that it's so goopy and confusing looking, and it's just like slime getting over slime, and the villain is gray and the Venom is black. So then like it's like in a way where it's like just it feels like what it would look like if symbiotes were fighting. Like it's just like goopy and like just like like getting like inside each other and shit. It's like, ooh, inside. But I don't know. It's just like it's cool. I like it. I think it's funny. But I mean, obviously, it's not like a well-made movie. It's like the screenplay for this movie is like in the fucking trash. Like, I don't know. It's got a lot of stuff holding it back. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, solid C tier. It's all right. It's all right. Now we get into the last movie. Not the most recent Spider-Man movie, but this one was released in 2021, right? So I remember watching this movie in theaters, and it was actually the first movie I had seen since the pandemic. So there's a little bit of like, you know, sentimental value there, and you know, with that in mind, I'm gonna put it in B tier, but like above Spider-Man 2. The tier list isn't letting me do it, but yeah, I'm gonna put it above Spider-Man 2. I really like this movie. I love it, man. It's just so bite-sized, and Cletus Cassidy is just such a like shit-eating, like just little goofy little goober with like the curly hair, and like him just being all like I'm gonna kill you, Venom, or like shit like that. Like I feel like that would have been a real fucking line he would have said in that movie. Like there's just so much shit that's just so goofy, but it's like kind of funny. I mean, it's like Spider-Man 2, right? The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But I think the only difference is that this movie actually did kind of have more heart put into it, more effort at the very least. And like they characterized Venom in a way that I just think is better than like the way that he was in the first movie. It improved a lot of like whereas like the first Venom movie was like goofy, but like it kind of didn't really know it was goofy. This movie knows, like this movie's in on the joke. It's fully like as it's doing its stupid shit, it's like it's winking at you. Like it knows what it's doing, and for that I gotta applaud it. I mean, it's pretty good. It's like I love the way that Carnage and Venom interact. I love the fight scenes. Dude, the art style is so goddamn good. Like all the church scenes where like Carnage is like literally like fucking growing and stuff. It's like that shit's straight out of Spider-Man 3, and like I'm there for it, man. That's good. All right. So I think that's it for this tier list. I don't think I'm gonna do another tier list. I could do Pixar, but I think that'll keep me here for another hour. So, excuse me. Yeah. Let's see. Man. Alright. Took a little break there to check my phone. Let's see, what else can we do? So I'm torn. Either I can do a review of Pixar movies, or I can react to something. It's a tough decision. I'm gonna adjust my webcam a little bit. You know what? I think I'm gonna react. To something. Yeah, just because, I mean, tier list, it's like, I don't know. Gives me too little to work off of. I have to be charismatic on my own? That's impossible. Please, dear God, don't be my account. Oh, okay, it's not. Actually, it probably would be better if it was my account. I want to get ads. I want to deal with advertisements. Let's see. Everyday objects but mini. Oh, this shit. This is like some content farm shit. Holy crap, man. Oh, what? What is this?
So nice. Tonight.
What the fuck is this? The hell is this content farm shit, man? Like, this is like... Oh boy, Mario reacts to more Nintendo memes. What is it? Who is this for? This is like... Because it's like... banking on Super Mario 64 nostalgia, but it's like... I mean, who the... Fucking nobody over the age of 5 is gonna watch this shit. So, like, why are they, like... What is this? What? Minecraft speedrunner Peppa versus 4 Hunters enemy. God, what is this shit? What the... I'm gonna click off. That's gonna be a... Dude, what the fuck is this recommended? I signed out of my YouTube account for like 1 day, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna like offer you fucking everything. Like, look at this shit. Like, there's like Sonic edits. There's Squidward. There's fucking... Why is there sports and then like a Mr. Beast video and then like Gacha Life and then Fortnite and then fucking... What is this shit, dude? This is like a 4-year-old's catalog. This is like what I would imagine my little cousin watching. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Alright. It's Miles Tails Prower. Who's watching this shit, bro? Alright. I'm gonna watch this one channel. I'm gonna start beef, actually. So, here, let me find it. Is it Reform Zoomer or something like that? Yeah, this guy, Redeem Zoomer. This guy's really fucking funny. So if you don't know what my political views are, you're gonna probably see a little bit of it from here. But oh my god, this guy is so funny. I remember I watched this video, Christianity equals illegal. Yeah, so, and then there was another video I found that was pretty good. This one. Oh, this one's so good. I'm gonna react. I've watched half of this video, so I'm gonna go into it kind of blind. I already kind of know what to expect. And I mean, looking at this comment, I mean, look at this shit. How do demons influence us? Why I'm not a Baptist or Reformed Baptist. So, why we must retake mainline churches. So, I think before we get into this, we need to read his about section because he's kind of fucking insane. I am not a pastor, nor do I have a seminary degree. I am a regular Gen Z Zoomer who was raised in a very secular, progressive culture. I was once a leftist, but came to know Christ as a teenager, which alienated me from my community. I've dedicated all my life since then to learning the things of God and finding creative ways to share what I know with others. I am part of the PCUSA, Presbyterian Church USA, but I completely oppose the theological liberalism and progressivism that has hijacked it. I have made it my mission to restore it. My theology is classical Reformed / Calvinist, but I am very ecumenical. Ecumenical? What the fuck? Is that a real word? God, I feel like such a goddamn idiot. I feel like that guy in like English who like doesn't know how to read, and it's like, and he knows that he doesn't know how to read. He knows that he's holding up the class for everybody. But, you know, the teacher called on him. He's got to read the assignment, you know. He's got to, like, kind of struggle through the sentences. And, like, I live in a majority bilingual Latino community. So, like, a lot of people are, like, ESL. So, I mean, I don't know. That's a little bit of a tangent, though. So, let's see. Ecumenical. Let's see, how do you pronounce this?
Ecumenical.
Ecumenical. Okay.
Ecumenical.
Yeah, no, I did it right. Representing a number of different Christian churches. Okay. So he's basically... Okay. So he's painting himself. I want to... this is how he views himself. At the very least, this is how he wants people to view himself. Is he wants to kind of present himself as like almost like a Jordan Peterson type, where first of all he presents the narrative that the left is taking over churches, progressive liberalism, stuff like that. And what he really means is that there are people who are like, oh, maybe we shouldn't fucking murder gay people. Like that's what it's gonna boil down to. I'm pretty sure. He seems like he came out. So from what I've seen, but came to know Christ as a teenager, which alienated me from my community. I think that runs deep. I feel like what he did, he grew up in like somewhere like some California blue progressive district, and he probably has liberal parents or something, like Obama era liberal, like kind of annoying little skeezy guys, right? And he wanted to express different ideas, just because it's fucking exhausting. I mean, where I live is like a majority blue district, and most people have like the same ideas. So I can kind of understand where he's coming from. He probably found God from an early age and was like, oh, I'm gonna like get into like religion and stuff. And then he was immediately met with like shithead atheists who are like the type, the fucking like choker wearing, like black lipstick, or like a fucking guy with the perm, or like book, and they probably like bullied him to the point where like he just kind of lost it, because from what it seems like he's fallen for that whole leftist takeover myth that fucking always happens with goddamn conservatives. So it's gonna be interesting to see, because I mean, it doesn't take a smart guy to know that the fucking church isn't taken over by leftists. It's actually quite the opposite. I'd wager that most mainline churches aren't even progressive. Like, they're just full-on hyper-conservative, like, especially the evangelical types, like the Christian nationalist wave. They're like pretty hardcore, like, especially in America. In Europe, maybe, but I mean, this guy doesn't fucking live in Europe. Like, he doesn't live in Europe. He lives in like probably like buttfuck like New Mexico or something like that, and he like didn't like that there were too many atheists, and then he had to be the contrarian, and then so he created this persecution victim complex to kind of justify his prejudice. That's my theory. But let's get into this video already, man. I mean, I kind of framed it a lot. I don't know. I don't know shit. I'm a fucking retard. I'm gonna like, let's see. God. I don't care, dude. I don't care.
If you disagree with something, it helps to understand it so that you can respond more effectively.
I already have a problem with this. I agree with what he's. It's just because like knowing what I know, it's very obvious that he's already setting something up. He's not setting this up in a way where it's like we're gonna analyze the like leftist talking points, and we're gonna see like which ones I agree with and which ones I don't. He's framing it like it's an attack, which is again like a thing that conservatives do, where it's not just like a debate about something to learn from it. It's a fight between ideologies. It's all like that's always what it ends up being. It's like a fucking battle arena where like only one can live, like that kind of shit, that's why Republicans are the way that they are, so all right, let's see.
So let me, a former leftist, help you understand the leftist view on gender ideology.
He's not a former leftist. He was probably like a liberal.
Hey guys, welcome back to Kingdom Craft, where I build this big church in Minecraft while I talk about Christianity. Today I'm mostly just going to go mining. And yeah, so today I'm going to be talking about how to respond to different leftist debate tactics. Or
All
they're
right.
not. They don't call it a debate. They just call it a conversation. But their goal is really
Who calls it that? I know it's a low blow to be like, it's anecdotal, but who says that? Who doesn't refer to it as a debate? Who? What is he like? He's already like he's making people up in his head and getting mad at them. But I mean that's fair. Like I do the same thing, right? But I guess like you know. I guess the only difference is that he's wrong and I'm right. So you know.
To try and convert you to leftism. So, as you guys know, I wasn't raised a conservative Christian. I grew up in a very leftist cultural environment, but I'm actually glad about that in hindsight because it means I understand leftism, I understand how to respond to it.
Watch him completely misunderstand every take and then strawman the fucking shit out of like everything leftists say.
So, people would always ask me things like, what are your thoughts on sexuality and gender? Or like,
don't ask him that. What do you think his thoughts on sexuality and gender are? This guy based his entire internet persona off of goddamn fucking Christianity and theology, and has actively said that liberalism took over the church. Like this guy, obviously this guy wants like fucking gay people to burn at the stake. What do you think he has to say about them?
let's have a conversation about sexuality and gender. So I don't really have many thoughts about that. I don't spend time thinking about sexuality and gender because it's pretty straightforward. There's men and women, and the reason for that is so a man can marry a woman and they can have babies. Pretty simple, not much to talk about. But it's the same reason why I don't.
Dude, we're going straight in. Oh my god, dude. We're going just like full, like just balls to the wall. Fucking. Oh no. He did the thing. He said it. He said the thing. He said. There are only two genders, and the reason why is because God only intended for there to be two genders in order to reproduce. All gay people are antithetical to basic biology. Like, that kind of fucking, like, Ben Shapiro fucking shit. God damn, man. There's already so much to base off this. He's already doing the anti-intellectualism thing, where he doesn't want there to be a conversation. And this is such a fucking, like, this textbook conservative propaganda, where they as soon as an argument starts not going their way, they shut down the conversation. This is what happens with Fox News parents. This is what happens with neo-Nazis. This is what happens with Christian theologians. This is always what fucking ends up happening. This guy basically framed it in a way where it's like, no, leftists want to deconstruct something, and you're gonna see it later. He basically compares gender to oxygen and says that nobody should think about it because it's something that's so simple and straightforward that it shouldn't even be a problem. So he's already phrasing it in a way where he's trying to frame leftists and transgender people as a as the hysterical left, which is what I'm pretty sure he's gonna say eventually, that they're hysterical, they're unreasonable, that they have all these super radical ideas like freedom and equality. So he's because I don't want to speculate on his points. We'll get into those, like what he actually says. But basically, he's already framed it in a way where he's actively saying that gender and sexuality already. I'm pretty sure he doesn't believe that there's a distinction between the two. I mean, he already did the two genders thing. Like, there's no fucking way he believes in a distinction between sex and gender. But so he's already doing the anti-intellectualism thing, where he's not even like supporting or humoring the idea of scientific studies that have proven that like there is actually like more than one gender, or more than two genders. Sorry, more than two sexes actually. There's more than two sexes and multiple genders based on like how development works and how basic human psychology and like the way that DNA is able to I guess, God, there was a word, how phenotypes are basically what's the word, projected, I guess, by DNA to like different degrees. The way that sex works is that it's on a spectrum, and obviously, I mean, people have probably said this before. Sexuality and sex and gender and all that stuff is on a spectrum. basically your hormones and your X chromosomes and your Y chromosomes, they're expressed to different degrees. It's almost like a slider, like in a Dark Souls game. You can basically slide the little thing to see how much of what trait you're gonna have. You know, it affects things like testosterone levels, estrogen levels, basic brain chemistry, like your serotonin, and even body parts. I mean, people who are intersex, they are people who like are completely asexual, and like all of that is based off of like the way that your development is in the embryo, because it's like it's on a slider. So there's not really two distinct pillars, more so gradients. And this is, I mean, modern science has backed this up for years now. These are peer-reviewed studies that are actually like, you know, coherent and in depth and funded by states, and like, you know, they're real studies. But these people are never ever gonna believe that, right? Because it's antithetical to their views. And you know, I've read the book. The book doesn't say anything about any of this. So the fact that they want to die on this hill is really annoying. Like, it's like, fucking, like, nobody cares, man. Like, Jesus Christ. Oh, God. I muted it. That's what happened.
Like oxygen, even though it's the same reason why I don't spend much time thinking about, say, like oxygen, even though it's everywhere. I don't have many thoughts about it because it's real simple and straightforward. Oxygen is an element that you need to breathe, and luckily it's 21% of the atmosphere. So I don't normally think about it, but if someone comes along and says, hey, let's have a conversation about oxygen, you know, let's deconstruct oxygen. I'm like, yeah, let's not. But they always want to deconstruct everything. When they say, like, let's have a conversation.
See, they always want to deconstruct everything. That's such an indicative quote, man. That's such a, like the stuff that he's saying is just so cringe. Like, it's anti-intellectualism. It's basic. I know it's like, oh, buzzword, right? You said the thing. No, anti-intellectualism is like a common thing with conservatives, and it's like, so he doesn't want there, like, it's what I said before. He doesn't want there to be conversation about anything. He views thinking critically as like a threat, which, you know, he's a Christian theologist. Fucking, of course he's gonna think that. He doesn't like it when there's a conversation, especially because the ideas that come from that conversation actively contradict with his own views. That's all that there is. That's why he doesn't like it when people deconstruct shit. Like, because it's like, you know, because with him, you know, it doesn't just stop at sexuality and gender. It's like other shit. Like, you know, if you press him on other issues like gun control or like Medicare or anything like that, he's gonna have like far right views
about this. The purpose isn't to gain insight and build up knowledge. It's to confuse and tear down.
How? What's your example? I mean, I don't know, maybe he'll get into it, but like, what's your example, dude? Like,
it's part of their whole philosophical worldview, which rejects objectivity altogether.
What? No, it doesn't. What are you talking about, bro? I mean, I'm a fucking leftist, and like, I don't, like, I just gave you facts, bro. That's what objectivity is. Oh my god, bro. Look, let's look this up, man. Like, first of all, let's look up the definition of objectivity, right? Just as a brief refresher. The quality of being objective. That doesn't fucking help. God, fucking thank you, Oxford Dictionary. Anyways. Yeah. Look. See? 2015. This is like years ago. Like this isn't new information that's like just came out yesterday. Like, this is like shit that like has been around for fucking years. Like, look, like as clinical geneticist, Paul James is accustomed to discussing some of the most delicate issues with his parents. But in early 2010, he found himself having a particular awkward conversation about sex. A 46-year-old pregnant woman visited his clinic at the Royal Melbourne Hospital in Australia to hear the results of an amniocentesis test to screen her baby's chromosomes for abnormalities. I don't know what that is. Actually, what is that? God, this is like such a goddamn tangent now, but I want to know what this is. What is this? Test done during pregnancy. Oh, is it that? Oh, okay. It's used in the prenatal diagnosis of genetic condition. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's basically just like a preliminary like checkup. All right. Baby was fine, but follow-up tests had revealed something astonishing about the mother. Her body was built of cells from 2 individuals, probably from twin embryos that had merged in her own mother's womb. And there was more. One set of cells carried 2 X chromosomes, the complement that typically makes a person female. The other had an X and a Y. Halfway through her 5th decade and pregnant with their 3rd child, the woman learned for the first time that a large part of her body was chromosomally male. It's kind of science fiction material for someone who just came in for amniocentesis. That's, I mean, yeah, look, like, she's basically intersex. Like, well, I mean, I'm not basically, right? But, like, she, basically the way that, it's what I had said, the way that genes are expressed are, like, varied from person to person. She had multiple genes, or multiple cells that were expressing completely different traits than what her, like, what conventional gender norms or sex norms would attribute to her. So it's like, if there's not a if you're gonna outright deny everything regarding the science for this shit, right? You're just like, there can't be a conversation about this at all. Like, this stuff is actually real things that happen, man. Like, you can't just like ignore the fact that this stuff is occurring. It's just kind of, it's a frivolous little thing, but it's like, it's just so, if you want to talk about objectivity, I mean, like, dude, like, we've cited sources. There's studies that have been done. Modern scientists agree with this thesis. It's not like a fucking, like, thing that we, like, people made up, like, out of nowhere, and we're just like, oh, I'm gonna pluck this out of my asshole and then just drop it there. It's like, that's not what happens. Yo, it's a fat. Bro, what? What's that? What? Oh man, I'm gonna get back into this video.
So, when people ask you to use their pronouns, they present it as asking a simple favor out of kindness and courtesy.
It is though! It doesn't take that much! It doesn't take that much to be like, bro, I mean, like, can you just refer to me as, like, these like, it's not that hard! It's not difficult! Like, that's just basic dude, he's a fucking Christian! Is it that, like, most of the fucking Bible is, like, to be considerate and, like, a nice person? This is just outright callous, like, where you're just, like, not gonna, like, you're just like, oh, fuck you, bro. Like, I don't know, like, it's important to them. It's like, why would you make it a big deal? Why would you make it a problem? Like, that's basically all that I'm saying. Like, why would you, like, just, who cares, bro? Like, why are you mad about this?
So that you can make them feel better. And they make it seem like it's not a big thing to ask, but
It's
really they're
not.
asking much more of you. They're asking you to abandon your current way of viewing reality altogether, not just regarding gender, but regarding everything, and adopt a whole new philosophy, a whole new religion.
Oh, this guy's a fucking zoomer. He's such a goddamn zoomer. I know it because I'm one. Like, this guy basically he didn't script his video out. He didn't script it. He's just kind of saying shit off the top of his head. He doesn't have, like, a point. He's basically just like just saying stuff. And I bet you, like, half of these takes lack any sort of nuance. It's like, oh, they're just asking you to deny reality. Bro, what about people who have had, like, top surgery and bottom surgery and, like, they're actually fucking like yeah, like, they even, like, in appearance they've, like, fully they're transsexual, which is the term for it. Like, what about those fucking people? Like, the reality is that they are actually, like, even physically the other gender or sex or whatever. Like, like, there's so much nuance to this. It's why are you mad, bro? Like, I don't know. I'm getting way too passionate about this. I mean, it's barely 2 minutes in. I've paused like 18,000 times, but goddamn, bro.
In fact, classical philosophy, which is just the default for most people, is that reality is just out there. Reality is something, it's objective, and that means certain things are true whether we like it or not. We may...
He's speaking like a goddamn traditional theocrat. Fuck, man. That's bad. He wants to talk about reality. How about this? So he's a God-loving man. I mean, so am I, right? But let's get into some theology then, right? So you believe in God. I believe in God too. One of the main tenets of modern theology, and even like Renaissance era, like reformist Catholicism and Christianity in general, is kind of built on the idea that like humans are incapable of viewing the total vision of God. This is even touched on by Plato. It's not taken in the context of like God and like religion, more so just perception. But I'm gonna use it in terms like he would probably know, right? So one of the main tenets of religion is that humans are incapable of viewing the full scope of God's plan, right? Because I mean, we're mortals. Like, we don't know what the hell God's thinking. Like, he's an omnipotent being. Like, nobody has that kind of power other than God, right? So reality then is impossible for anybody other than God to see. So he's trying to base it in the fact that there are some like truths, like there's solid truths that I guess that God himself represents. There are like there are objective things in the world. The problem is that humans are physically incapable of ever perceiving that sort of reality. I even wrote an essay about this in like a few weeks ago. Basically, human perception is a small and flawed illusion. It's a small segment of actual reality, because no human is ever going to be able to view anything outside of their own perspective. So he's trying to ground his argument in moral views and objective reality when he doesn't know what the reality is. So no fucking actual Christian would ever admit to like knowing what those objective truths are. I mean, we could get pretty close, right? We can read the Bible, we can see what they were saying in the Ten Commandments and just in scripture itself, but you also have to take into account the Bible's been retranslated like after years and years and years. People have gone in and actually changed stuff. I mean, the Catholic Church preserved the Bible, right? But I mean, they were so corrupt that they just like fucking they would just edit out shit like whenever they could. And so we don't really have like an authentic version of the Bible that was written during the time that Jesus was alive, or even before then. Like, we don't have like the actual we don't have the Bible. Basically, we just have retranslations from a dead language that nobody speaks. Like, there's no way that you know what God was saying. So we could get kind of close, we could kind of understand what the general idea is, but like specific ideas like transgenderism and just LGBTQ stuff in general, like there's no specific condemnation of it in the Bible. So it's like it's a non-issue basically. You have no idea, it could go either way. So the problem is that this is fundamentally antithetical to Christianity. Me as a Christian, I believe that essentially like religion, just theology itself, is built on constant discussion. Everything is built on constant discussion. Science is, math is, reading, literature, arts, and religion. They're all built off of a constant constructive discussion that needs to happen in order for these ideas to evolve and grow along with the advancement of technology and ideas. I mean, it's just a common thing. Like, he's trying to make it seem like everything is the same that it's been, that's I don't know. It's like he's trying to present himself as the arbiter of all objective truth, and it's just so hypocritical. When it's like, that's not the point of religion. The point of religion is to be a constant strive to be something greater. There's not like an objective truth that you can just tell people and then it's like, oh, that's there we go. Like, I don't know why these people can ever see this shit, man. I don't know, it's just stupid. Like,
individually have different ways in which we experience reality, but our subjective experience of reality is less important than reality itself.
Yeah, so, I mean, he literally just agreed with what I said, right? So, I mean, he knows. Like, I mean, everything I said, he just said. But, see that little but at the end? Look what he says.
but our subjective experience of reality is less important than reality itself.
What reality though? What reality? I mean, yeah, I agree with him. I agree with him that yeah, there is an objective reality that God has presented, and that it was like there is objective reality. We don't fucking know what it is, and we probably never will. At least not until we die. But like, I mean, because I don't know what happens then. But like, fucking like, while you're alive, you have no idea. This guy is like probably like 17. Like he doesn't know. He doesn't know anything. Like, and then that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that he doesn't know anything and I don't know anything. But the difference is that he's actively trying to shut down a conversation when I'm trying to like promote the conversation to be had. He doesn't like it when there's like a discussion surrounding ideas. He just wants it to be what I said, and that's gonna be what I said, and that's it. And it's like, what gives you the right to do that? I mean, he doesn't know, like, so why are you talking about objective reality? Like, why don't you actually talk about actual given points, give scientific statistics and facts that are more reliable than just what I think? Like, I don't know, it's just
Self. The philosophy of the left, however, is not classical, it's postmodern, which says the exact opposite, that our personal experience of reality is everything. It's our personal experience is really what matters, and maybe objective reality doesn't even exist at all, or if it does, it's less important than the
he doesn't really know what that means. Again, leftist. I'm a leftist. That's not what I think at all. It's like he thinks that these ideas are, he basically views the world in such a black and white way that it's like either you are completely beholden to the idea of an objective truth, or you like don't believe in anything at all. Like that, he just sees it's like this or this, like, and it's just, I don't know, it's just not a good way to write an analysis of something.
a subjective personal experience. That's why you always hear about like your truth and someone's lived experience. That's why it's such a horrible sin for them to disrespect someone's lived experience, because that's their entire
Also, this is unrelated, but he's really fucking bad at mining, like really bad.
reality. It's not just their feelings.
God damn, mid-roll. You're gonna put a mid-roll ad in this shit, bro? Alright.
And yeah, they say it's everything. So in a classical understanding, male and female are objective and scientifically measurable, and it doesn't matter how.
Okay, a classical understanding was made before the time we had instruments and even an idea of DNA itself. Like, fucking classical literature was written at a time where like they still thought that the earth was flat and shit. Like, that's not completely accurate, but it was written at a time when like people were fucking like when they were in Britain, right? And they thought like, oh yeah, no, the water that we drink that comes from the river with dead bodies and sewage in it, no, just like cover your nose and you'll be fine. Like, this is when they didn't even believe in germ theory, when it was controversial to say that there were cells in your body, like, or atoms, when that was like, when it was controversial to say that things didn't just spontaneously appear because something filthy was there. Like I don't know, man. Like, it's just actively contradictory to science. But this guy's obviously like hardcore, like in it, right? So he's not any appeal to logos is like not gonna get to him at all. Like, he doesn't care
How you feel. You're either male or female based on your chromosomes, and there's no reason to question
Yeah,
it.
okay. No, he says chromosomes. We literally just talked about that. Chromosomes are expressed in a different way because it's a type of gene. God, dude, you can't have it both ways. You can't just like actively deny science and then credit science to prove your point. Like, oh my god.
In postmodern leftism, however, they see that attitude as oppressive, since, according to them, everyone creates their own like universe to live in, making
That's not what people are saying. That's not what they're saying. They're saying what the science supports. If the science didn't support it, then they probably wouldn't. But it does. It's like, oh my god, dog. Like, he's cherry picking points that aren't even real. It's straw man. It's what I said. He's straw manning. So he's just kind of framing this argument in a way that's like makes everybody seem unrealistic and stupid. And it's just like, oh well, but I come in with my fucking tie and I'm gonna like like, you know, like straighten it up and have my points or whatever. It's like, goddamn, bro. I don't know.
Effective claims is basically
God, I would love to debate this guy. I would love to debate him. God, that would be so cool. If anybody's watching this stream, or if he finds out somehow, dude, please debate. Please, I want to debate you, man. God, that just like I really want to debate you, especially being like a guy who's into Christianity or theology myself. Like I want to see what your ideas are, you know. And yeah, no, I think it would be really good. Yeah, no, I want to debate you, man. Yeah.
forcing your world on someone else. That's why they say it's gaslighting if you ever dare question someone's lived experience. So the left encourages...
Wait. That's a contradiction. He said that leftists value lived experiences, that everybody lives in their own universe, but then for some reason it's also, we view it as gaslighting if... What? Wait, hold on. What did he say? I think I might be confusing myself.
Gaslighting if you ever dare question someone's lived experience.
Oh, okay, no, then that's okay, that's cohesive. Well, it's not cohesive, but it's consistent with his views. Okay, never mind. I thought he was trying to make the point that it was that lived experience was like gaslighting, that we viewed it as gaslighting when people were using lived experiences to like oppose other lived experiences. But no, that would be too complex of a take.
So the left encourages everyone to create their own reality, since
dude, he's mining so badly. Why are you like, bro, just break one thing. Why are you wasting extra durability on your diamond pickaxe, bro? Like, what?
every aspect of
Stop breaking cobblestone.
traditional thought, they say, is polluted with all kinds of oppression.
That's not what people are saying. I mean, they kind of are, yeah, because fundamentally the left is about liberating people from oppression, right? It's about decreasing hierarchy. That's the best definition. I think Vosh said it. The best definition of the left is a fundamental opposition to the idea of hierarchy. But I mean, it's just so stupid. It's like this guy is basically saying that being against oppression is bad, right? I mean, it's a little bit of straw man. That's not what he's saying, but it's, you know, that's at the end of the day, that's what he thinks.
So when someone changes their pronouns and says they're some non-binary gender, of course,
Oh, he's going after the non-binary people.
the left will cheer them on, and if you question it or won't go along with it, you're basically committing murder, because
That's not what people are saying. No. Watch this guy. He's probably pro-life. So he thinks... he's doing exactly the same thing. Also, your skin is weird. What the hell? This kind of skin is that? Anyway, but yeah, no, you know this guy's pro-life. There's no way that he's not. So you know that... he's trying to make the point that, you know, oh, well, if you're against someone's political or social views, well, then that's akin to... They view it as akin to murder. But then you bring up abortion, and he thinks the exact same thing, you know? So, and of course, he's going to view it as a false equivalency because he actually does think abortion is murder. Like, you know, if he is pro-life, he's, like, objectively wrong, right? But, like, he's not going to view it that way. He's going to view it as, like, oh, well, abortion is pro-murder because, you know, it's technically alive. And it's like, oh, you know, it's just, like, the same thing. But then... I don't like arguments like that. It's especially with people like this. Like, they're never gonna believe it. I mean, you could pull up any form of science and statistic you want. They're not gonna fucking believe it. But then you bring up, it's like, oh well, didn't God like kill almost all of life when he flooded the planet, and Noah had to build the ark, and then they just freeze it. It's like like. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of stupid. Like, why? It's not akin to murder. It's just cringe. It's just cringe that you're making such a big deal about having to call someone by their pronouns. Like, dude, like, what does it matter? Like, I'm surprised he didn't even cite that, like, it's fundamentally against the Bible. He's going for, like, less of a theological issue and more of, like, a philosophical, pseudo-intellectual vibe. So, like, basically, he's trying to do more Jordan Peterson than Ben Shapiro, which is kind of interesting.
you're denying them something that defines their whole reality. You're denying them something critical and fundamental to who they are. So that's why they think of it as like an unforgivable sin.
It's not that we view it as an unforgivable sin. It's more so just like, and I can't speak for every leftist. There are a few. There are a few that do, and honestly, I mean, I could kind of agree with them because there's a lot of emotional baggage that comes with transitioning, especially for someone who's been living with like gender dysphoria for like years and struggling with like this cognitive dissonance of how they feel on the inside and how they're expressed in the outside and how people view them. It's a struggle. It's a struggle that this guy's never had to deal with, you know? So like there are a lot of people who like do view it like that because it is like that. It is a life or death for them. And it's just such a hypocritical way of pointing at it when, you know, coming from a guy who's a self titled Christian, right? And it's just almost callous to like, and being a little bit like over dramatic, right? I mean, I don't think this guy's like evil. Not yet anyway. I don't think he's like evil or anything, but I do think there's like this kind of like distaste that he has, like overt, like you know, the way that he's talking, it's he's coming from an emotional place and not a logical place, which is, you know, obvious because I mean Christian theology, like theologians that like are anti-LGBT like don't have the statistics to back them up anymore. Like they don't have like the science. If they did have the science, you know, they'd be fucking citing that shit left and right, but they don't. So instead they go for you know, stuff like this, like just basic like rants basically.
Misgender someone or to dead name someone. Now all of this is deeply tied to religion, even though they will try to make it like it's not. In Christianity, reality is objective, since God creates and sustains reality itself.
Right. Okay.
We each have our own experiences, but God's objective reality is more important. God is always greater than us. In fact, even if popular atheism says otherwise, it was Christianity that started modern science. There was always...
Yeah, okay, so this I agree with. Well, to an extent. Because it wasn't Christianity, it was actually Judaism that started it. Because Judaism was started as a kind of a way of preserving a culture. So obviously it preserved a lot of practices, cultural norms and rules. That's why if you look at the Tanakh, it's basically just filled with rules. It's because it's preserving their cultural norms, which that's why I fucking love the Hebrew Bible, man. The Hebrew Bible is awesome. Like it's because it's one of the few instances where someone literally preserved an entire culture, entire like a way of living in the one book, and it's just, that's so cool, man. I love that. And you know, the Christian Bible is more so written in like it has a message to deliver. Like there's two different schools of thought between, you know, Judaism and Christianity. And Judaism is like what I said. It's based off of what I had said before. Christianity should adopt is it's based off of this core theme of debate and discussion, where it's not really based on the religious views. It's more so based off of the idea of preserving their culture and their norms and their society. And that's just awesome. It's just an awesome way for, I love historical posterity. I love that shit, man. And it's because it's one of the best ways of doing it. Where meanwhile the Christian Bible, not knocking it, but the Christian Bible is basically written in a way where it's more so an exploration of the theology itself. So like the mythology, I get. Well, depending on your views, it'll be mythology. For me, it's the theology. It's the actual like the religion, you know. It more so explores like the reality of the world and stuff. So
some sort of science, but Christianity started science.
And I do want to say, actually, going back to the science topic, yeah. So Judaism preserved a lot of that stuff, and a lot of Arabic culture, which is how Islam is. Islam created modern medicine, created modern societal norms. You know, they had hospitals, dude. Like that's hype. Like they literally. Like during the Islamic Golden Age, they invented astronomy. They had fucking like math, like really advanced math. They had calculators. They had literally modern hospitals. They had taxi systems. They had sewage systems. Obviously, the Romans had them before them, but they helped advance them in certain ways. And science, like modern medicine, it's just a lot of that. And you know, I'm not gonna say that, you know, he made a conscious effort to just kind of erase Islam, but the Islamic Golden Age is really hype. I know there's a Vosh video where he goes into it, dude. Like it was just it was so much good stuff that came from that, and so I mean I agree with him to an extent in that religion is a good societal tool to use for like the advancement of science and ideas, but that's not what he's for. He claims to be pro-science. That's what he's kind of framing it as. That he's pro-science here. But as soon as the science is against him, he becomes anti-science. So,
science as we know it, since the founders of the scientific revolution, like Isaac Newton and Galileo, believed that God created an objective and logical, comprehensible reality for us to discover.
yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, and obviously, I mean, you don't have to. Like, if you're an atheist, it's fine. Like, it doesn't change the fact that, like, yeah, there is like a universe out there with stuff in it that we should probably explore for the sake of science. Like, yeah, but I think the fact that he's kind of trying to like play, like, have his cake and eat it too. It's a little manipulative. It's a little, and also at the same time, that he doesn't apply. He said that there's worlds out there for us to explore, right? He doesn't believe that with fucking DNA and gender and like the way that bodies develop. Like it's such an obvious fucking contradiction. Like what?
I know Isaac Newton wasn't like a theologically orthodox Christian, but he believed in the Christian concept of a God and believed the Bible was God's word. So yeah, definitely not the way.
See, that's another thing. He is under the fundamental belief that the Bible is God's word. Now, I don't want to get too many Christians like angry or anything like that, but I feel like Christianity is like too obsessed with the Bible. And I know it's like literally the core text, but if you like what I had said before, it's translation after translation after translation after translation, different people with different motives tweaking what's in there. It's not God's word anymore. I mean, people have corrupted what the Bible says for centuries. Like it's not the core ideas I agree with are probably like God's like. Yeah, I think like the core messages and themes of the Bible were by and large preserved, but obviously they're misinterpreted wildly by mainstream churches, especially the goddamn Catholic Church. But yeah, that they're like liberal. They're liberally misinterpreted to serve their own ulterior motives. Like. So, I mean, I wouldn't really say that the Bible is God's word just because of that. Like, I would say we should probably question our sources a little bit more, like probably think a little bit more critically about reality. It's like, yeah, like, otherwise it's like fundamentally antithetical to the idea that Christianity is promoting, like the idea of exploration. It's like, how can you explore the marketplace of ideas if you're just like chained to like whatever a book says, especially a book that changes what it says on a dime with every new edition? Like,
modern pop atheists make it seem like it was. They make it seem like the scientific revolution was a rebellion against religion, but that's not true at all. That's complete pseudo-history.
No, I agree with that. There are a few. There's a few that pointed out, and I think it's pop atheism. I mean, I'm under the belief that most pop philosophy, though it is kind of helpful in letting people like kind of get introduced into stuff. Pop philosophy is like it's not very good at making nuanced takes, and it is likely to have like ulterior motives. I think pop atheism is probably not the best way to get your atheist takes, but I mean, I don't like the way that he's going with it. He's trying to make it as a win for conservative Christians when that really shouldn't be the case. If anything, it should work as an example for what Christian theology should be now, but it's not. That's not what he believes.
History. So leftism is a religion, but not based on God in the classic monotheistic sense. In leftism, since you create your own private universe, and that's all that really matters, you are God.
That is, oh no, dude. He's trying to get people to like, he's trying to get his base angry because, I mean, that's blasphemy. That's like sacrilegious. Like that shit's like an actual fucking religious crime to like believe yourself to be God. And so obviously he's trying to get his base riled up and be like, they can't think they're God. That's a cardinal sin. And it's like, yeah, no, we don't fucking believe that we're God, dude. Like what? Everything I've said is contrary to that. Obviously, I mean, he doesn't know what I said. He doesn't even know who I am. But like, he's basically coming to these conclusions by himself. He's like getting mad at the little people in his head that are telling him things. Like, I don't know, man.
To yourself.
That's not what it is. That's not the people speaking their truth is an acknowledgement that everyone's perception is different. And if we can't have a nuanced discussion if we don't know what everybody's perspective is, how are you supposed to advance the conversation if you don't know what everybody thinks? That way you can discuss what ideas are good and what ideas are bad. He's basically what he's implying here is that the act of having different opinions is wrong. Like, and it's a little, again, so could be a straw man. He probably is certainly going to try and frame it that way if he ever sees his criticism. He's certainly going to try and like find a way to weasel out of that take, you know, but no, like it's a bad take. It's a fucking, they don't believe that making their own universe to become God is like, that's not what's happening, bro. It's just an acknowledgement that everybody's life is different. And like, you know, obviously he doesn't believe that. Like, just from what I'm seeing here, it seems like he's a little bit against the idea of diversity in general, like at least ideological diversity.
That's why you'll see a lot of progressives, feminists, and LGBT activists constantly talking about self-love. Self-love is...
It's not wrong to love thyself? Is it that like a thing in the Bible? Is it... Here, let me see. God does not want us to go through our lives filled with hate, disappointment, or insecurities about ourselves. God has created us perfectly in his image. In this day and age, it is difficult not to compare ourselves to others or the idea of what we should look like. Basically, it's just like we should love our neighbors as we love ourselves. That's literally a fucking, like, virtue. Like, that's one of the main virtues. Like, oh my God, it's bad to love yourself? Like, I knew this guy was full of shit. Oh my God, dude. Like,
religious devotion in leftism, since the self is God. Since it's so...
What? What are you saying? That's not what people are saying. Like, you're fucking... Dude, like, you're saying it about Christianity, too. You're saying, like, oh, well, self-love is basically comparing yourself to God because you're made in God's image. So that means that you're an extension of God. So if you love yourself because you're God. Like, that literally, it's the same train of logic, and it means nothing. It absolutely means nothing. What, so now he's against self-love? But he wants people to be, like, hateful towards himself? That's a fucking sin. What a fucking moron. Oh, my God.
Dominant in our culture. Many Christians even promote this self-love rhetoric.
What rhetoric? It's in the Bible! It's in the fucking Bible that you read! What?
Not knowing the roots behind it, but I think self-love is completely anti-Christian. And...
What are you saying? Dude, how do you have a platform? How do people listen to you? What?
Can quickly and easily devolve into self-worship. You know, it's
no,
John Calvin who said...
No, it's not!
The heart...
It's self-accept... Dude, fucking even John Milton said this shit! John Milton, the fucking guy who wrote Paradise Lost. Oh my God, dude.
Is a perpetual factory of idols. So if you're promoting this rhetoric of self-love and self-care too much, it can very easily turn into making yourself into your own God.
What are you saying? He's saying that people loving themselves becomes like a form of ego? That's...
Which is what is fundamental to the leftist religion. The leftist religion, oh yes, diamonds, worships the...
That was actually hype. That was a little... That was hype. Let's see.
What is fundamental to the leftist religion. The leftist religion...
That's like...
into your own God, which is what is fundamental to the leftist religion. The leftist religion, oh yes, diamonds. worships the god of self. That's their god.
This guy for real, like, switches, like, halfway between, like, being, like, the most insane goddamn guy. Like, the only person that competes with this is What If Altist. Like, Jesus Christ, man. He goes from, like, the most insane garbage to, like, oh, yes, diamonds.
And I have a whole
That's how fucking nonchalantly his prejudice runs. Like, Jesus Christ.
other video about self-love and why I don't think Christians should be a part of it. That's not what this video
Where's that video? Oh, dude, I'm gonna react to that tomorrow.
is
Jeez.
about, really. So
Whoa, ooh, something's happening.
why I don't think Christians should be a part of it. That's not what this video is about, really. So that's why you can't be Christian and religiously leftist. What I mean by that is you could agree with leftists on some, like, political or economic issues, but even though they try to deny it, leftism is a religion. It's a fundamental...
It's not a religion, dude. It's just a way of recontextualizing, like, ideas. Like, it's not a religion. It's not even really a philosophy. It's more of like a coalition of different ideologies, because again, the left likes to reduce hierarchy. So obviously the left side of political discourse is going to be more diverse than the right. So, like, he basically is trying to imply that, well, he's not implying, he's outright saying that leftism is a religion, but it's not. It's just like a way of thinking. It's a coalition of ideas. It's not even a religion. That's like, a religion needs like a central story. It needs themes. It needs like and it needs to be like, I don't even know, man. It's because if at this point you could say any philosophy is a religion, like it just devolves into nothing. You could be like, oh, nihilism and pessimism stoicism is a religion, like that, which is basically what he's saying, because he fucking hates self-love, and that's like a core tenet of stoicism. It's like, Jesus Christ, man.
fundamentally different way than everything else of seeing the world. It comes from the ideas of Karl Marx, who rejected all traditional religion, especially Christianity, because that was the religion of Europe at the time. But he proposed a whole new way of seeing the world. He invented modern progressivism.
No, he didn't. He was like super goddamn racist and anti-Semitic. I mean, Karl Marx, I love the guy, right? Like, he made socialism. Socialism's awesome. But like, dude, he's one jump away from saying cultural Marxism. God, man, this guy's a lunatic. Jesus Christ, like, he didn't create modern leftism. He didn't do any of that. He created an economic idea that slowly informed the ideas of postmodernism. He wasn't even a part of the wave of postmodernism. He was like a modernist. It's like, I don't even know, man. And I also want to say, it's not even postmodernism. It's fucking modernism now. I had no idea, but yeah, no, it's like he's wrong on both levels.
Which states that we always have to improve our own realities. That's why progressivism always changes. That's why
Progressivism changes because it's built on the idea of changing, like, ideas. Like, I don't know, man. It's the reason why progressivism is like that. It's what I said. It's a coalition of ideas. It's just, this guy's fucking insane. Jesus Christ.
always need to cancel past, like, historical figures, and why stuff that was fine to say 10 years ago is unacceptable now, and what's fine to say now will be unacceptable 10 years in the future. So leftism is really like a...
No, it's... he doesn't, like, he doesn't know. Like, he kind of understands... his understanding of progressivism, and it's so funny because he said he was a former leftist. This guy was like a liberal. Like, he wasn't a leftist, he was a goddamn liberal. He was like a libtard, like Obama pilled whatever, like, he didn't really understand what he was saying kind of guy. And then as soon as he found a way to reject that reality, he hopped ship right away, because he seems like he's trying to present himself as an intellectual. I'd have to see more content of him to, like, kind of tell how he's, like, trying to present himself, but it seems like he values the idea of being viewed as an intellectual. So that's why he's trying to be like, well, actually, leftism is a religion. It's like, no, it's not, dude. You're just, like, talking out of your asshole at this point. Jesus Christ.
virus. Viruses don't create anything, and they can't reproduce on their own. They need to hijack healthy cells and
He's like going hard.
reprogram those cells to create more viruses. That's what the left does. Their philosophy is so flawed that it can't drive them to create. It can't drive them to create anything that's actually good.
What? What do you think socialism and stuff is? It's like ideas that were created. Dude, he's like just talking out of his asshole. Like, because, I mean, you know that he doesn't have any economic takes because he's mostly focused on like the religious, theological aspect. But it's like, this guy's just goddamn insane. Jesus Christ.
All that they can do is hijack existing things. All they can do is like hijack institutions and other things that Christians created. Remember, Christians started all the
We're not even hijacking institutions. Okay, the point of like socialism and leftism in general is to like defy institutions. Like it's anti-establishment. So how are we hijacking it? It's built on the. I mean, I guess I'm not really interacting with this point in good faith at this point because he's just so like just unhinged, and it's like, what am I supposed to respond to? He's just like talking like just like lunacy. It's pure lunacy. Like he's just he completely misunderstood his own goddamn religion, and it's like then he like completely goes into this like narrative that like leftism is hijacking everything, which is like one step away from like when the Nazis were like talking about the Jews taking over Weimar Germany. It's like it's the same narrative. It's the exact same narrative. You know, this guy would have been a fascist in like 1920. Like he would have been like an Italian nationalist. It's like, goddamn, man.
all the top universities like Oxford, Harvard, Yale, Princeton. It was conservative. Well, they weren't conservative for their time. It was Bible-believing Christians who started them, but they've been hijacked by leftists. And
No, they're not. The reason why universities are universally left-leaning or near universally left-leaning is because they're an environment for like learning and discussion and discourse. And when you start having conversations, people start leaning left. It's just a common thing. Like, I don't think there's a single human being on the planet other than those with ulterior motives who would actively who would knowingly agree with the tenets of like right-wing ideology. I'm under the impression that people who ascribe themselves to like right-wing ideologies are afraid, ignorant, or have ulterior motives. And even the people with ulterior motives, they don't really ascribe themselves to right-wing ideology in the sense that they're a core believer in the ideology itself. They just view it as a tool to get whatever they want. Like those same people, if socialism would have gotten them the same thing, they would be a socialist. And those are all your pundits. Those are your Tucker Carlsons, your Ted Cruzes, your Gutfelds, your Ben Shapiro's and your Jordan Peterson. Actually, maybe not Ben Shapiro, just because he's so. No, you know what? Yeah, Ben Shapiro, yes. Jordan Peterson, no, because I think he just does. Like, he just wants to kill transgender people. Like, I think that's just all he wants to do. But yeah, like, nobody would knowingly ascribe themselves to the right unless they're like ignorant or stupid. Or sorry, stupid or afraid. And that's what this guy is. He's ignorant and he's like afraid of the left. At the very least, he was personally hurt by someone on the left. That's probably what happened.
now they're leftist factories. They're petri dishes of progressive.
No, man, they're not. They're just they're petri dish. He keeps trying to go for that virus germ analogy, but it's funny because he's also denying science. So it's like
Of ideology. Leftists also hijack the mainline Protestant churches, and
this is just pure fiction.
instead of actually trying to renew the churches, the evangelicals just split off and formed their own churches, and that's why we have modern evangelical churches. And I think that was a mistake. But I have a bunch of other videos about that. Okay, so what
I
can
want
we
to see
do?
those because okay, that's interesting. I thought he would have been pro evangelical. He still could be, but I want to see that video then.
Do about this whole leftism thing? Well, I'll go back to the whole virus analogy. The way that our cells fight viruses is by learning to recognize the virus, learning how the
Don't say it. Don't say it, dude.
virus works, and understanding the virus. That's why you can develop an immunity to viruses once your cells learn
he's
about the
right
virus.
there.
So I say learn about
He's on the-
leftism. Study the history of
He's on the cusp, man. He's like right there. He's right there. He's on the. He's like it's like right there, right? Like this is the leg. This is so this side is like centrism, like just like annoying centrism, and then this side is like genocide. And he's like leaning, he's like right there, like he's about to say it, but nah, then he just goes for like just learn about leftism. You should do research on leftist ideology, and it's like, nah, you know what he really wants to say is, what we should do is we should learn how to destroy them, both intellectually and socially, and then we should completely eradicate them and stop them out like the plague that they are, and then we should establish camps and then put them all inside the camps, and then like that's where he is. He's like right there. He's right on the cusp of like, we should kill transgender people. That's basically what he's like trying to get at. Like if you pushed him hard enough.
People on the left and not on the left only know the surface level leftism. They don't know the philosophy behind it. So look up people like Karl Marx, Judith Butler, John Money, the Frankfurt School, and like cultural Marxism.
I told you guys, I said it. I said that he would say it, and he did. Cultural Marxism. It's a made-up word. God, this guy's insane, man. Jesus.
Stuff like that. I recommend a lot of stuff by Dr. Jordan B. Cooper, who's a brilliant Lutheran theologian, and theology is his main thing, but he also has a bunch of very good lectures on cultural Marxism. And Wikipedia, by the way, the Wikipedia page on cultural Marxism says it's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, but okay, I'm ethnically Jewish, I have Jewish heritage. There's nothing anti-Semitic.
That's interesting. Yeah, so is Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro's ethnically Jewish, and I mean, I would say that guy's like basically just a puppet for anti-Semites, and he's an anti-Semite. He is. I mean, unless it's like someone like Kanye, who's like an active Nazi. Like Ben Shapiro is like fully just in, like he's fully operating against his own interests. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy convinced himself the same thing.
Semitic about it. The reason they say that is because a lot of the figures behind cultural Marxism are Jewish, but that doesn't make criticizing cultural Marxism anti-Semitic.
Are they Jewish? No, they're not. Wait. Oh, I just got it. Oh, so he's saying that people who are cultural Marxists are Jewish. Oh, I mean, first of all, it's not a real word. It's not a real thing. It's not a real ideology. So, like, I mean, who do you classify as philosophers of that? He doesn't even name them, first of all. Second of all, are they all Jewish, or are you just saying that they're all Jewish? In which case, why are you saying that they're all Jewish? Why do you feel the need to point that out? You know, maybe it's because, maybe it's a little bit more of a coincidence that people who are regarded as cultural Marxists are Jewish, because I don't know about you, but usually people on the right like to attack Jewish people.
And Wikipedia used to have like a legit page on cultural Marxism just explaining what it is and explaining it like it's a real thing. But then once activists pressured them, they changed it and said cultural Marxism is not a real thing, it's just an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
It's not a real thing, dude. What is it then? Provide another source.
Say that it exists. But yeah, that's not true. They always try to like tell us that our ideas are conspiracy theories, and so there are some things on the right that are conspiracy theories.
He's kind of like, you know, paint himself as a centrist, but as most centrists do, they usually end up playing defense for the alt-right. So
theories, and I encourage you not to believe it. They call that QAnon BS. But
now he goes anti-QAnon after he just said half the shit that QAnon has said.
Yeah, they will lump real things in with conspiracy theories. Anyway, that's about it for today. Just some advice on how to understand leftism from me, your resident former leftist. But yeah, so God bless, and don't be afraid, don't back down.
I want to see what his takes were. I'm kind of okay. So I guess that's it, right? I kind of want to see him talk about what his beliefs were. Because I don't want to do that Hassan thing where like Hassan basically gatekeeps leftism. He could have been a leftist, but from what I'm getting, it seems like he was just an Obama era liberal. So I mean, I don't know. I need to debate him. I mean, dude, please, like if if you ever see this, man, please let me debate you. Like, God, I wanna just like I wanna know what you think about stuff, man. You know, and obviously, I mean, no hate to this guy. Don't fucking bully his channel or whatever. Yeah, like, yeah, a lot of the shit he said is wrong, and it's fucked up and prejudiced. But like, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just gross. It's like don't attack this guy. And all of it, it's in good fun. I just kind of want to like. I want to debate you, man. This all comes back to that. I really want to see what you think about stuff. But God, man, it's getting really late. It's like 12:30 over here, so I think I'm gonna end stream for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. That was pretty fun. I'm gonna do this more often. Fucking watch that guy. That guy was funny. But all right then. So thank you all. If you're new here, subscribe. Leave a like on the video. And yeah.